How Riko the Rabbit Tricked Gudu. Long ago, in the heart of a hot and distant land, where forests were thick and dark and rivers wild and fast, there lived two strange friends. One was a large white rabbit named Riko the Rabbit, and the other was a big baboon called Bako the Baboon. They cared for each other so much that they were rarely seen apart. One day, when the sun was hotter than usual, Riko the Rabbit woke up from his midday nap and saw Bako the Baboon standing beside him. "Get up," said Bako. "I am going courting, and you must come with me. Put some food in a bag and hang it around your neck, because we may not find anything to eat for a long time." So the rabbit rubbed his eyes, gathered some fresh greens from beneath the bushes, and told Bako he was ready for the journey. They travelled happily for some distance and eventually came to a river where rocks were scattered across the rushing water. "We will never cross these large gaps if we are carrying food," said Bako. "We must throw it into the river unless we want to fall in ourselves." Without Riko noticing, Bako picked up a large stone and threw it into the water with a loud splash. "Your turn now," he shouted. With a deep sigh, Riko untied his bag of food and dropped it into the river. On the other side, the road led into a path lined with trees, and before long, Bako opened a hidden pouch concealed in the thick fur around his neck and began eating delicious-looking fruit. "Where did you get that?" asked Riko jealously. "Oh," replied Bako, "I realized I could cross the rocks easily after all, so it seemed a shame not to keep my bag." "Since you tricked me into throwing mine away, you should let me share yours," said Riko. But Bako pretended not to hear him and continued walking with long strides. Soon they entered a forest where a tree stood heavy with fruit, its branches bending close to the ground. Some fruits were green, others yellow and ripe. The rabbit jumped forward joyfully because he was starving, but Bako said, "Pick the green fruits. They are much better. I leave them all for you, since you have not eaten yet, and I will take the yellow ones for myself." Riko bit into a green fruit, but the skin was hard and bitter. "This tastes terrible," he cried. "I would rather have one of the yellow fruits." "No, no," replied Bako. "Those would make you sick. Stay with the green ones." Since there was nothing else, Riko had no choice but to eat them. After this happened several times, Riko finally understood the trick and decided to do the opposite of whatever Bako told him. At last they arrived at the village where Bako's future wife lived. As they entered, Bako pointed toward a bush and said, "When I eat, if you hear me shout that my food has burned me, run quickly and gather leaves from that bush to heal my mouth." Riko wanted to ask why he would eat food he knew would burn him, but instead he quietly nodded. Later, pretending he had dropped his needle, he secretly went back to the bush and hid many leaves inside his fur. That evening, Bako's fiancée welcomed them and brought water and food. But once again, Bako ruined Riko's hopes. "Village custom forbids you from eating before I finish," said Bako. Riko believed him and waited hungrily while Bako ate. Soon Bako shouted, "I am burned! I am burned!" Though Riko already had the healing leaves hidden nearby, he pretended to run off to fetch them so Bako would suspect nothing. But when he returned, almost all the food was gone. "What bad luck!" cried Bako. "While you were gone, many people came, washed their hands, and ate your portion." Though Riko knew he was lying, he said nothing and went to bed hungrier than ever before. The next morning, they passed through another village where people were harvesting peanuts. "Now you can finally have a good breakfast," said Bako, pointing toward a pile of empty shells. But this time, Riko smiled. "Thank you," he said, "but I think I prefer these." And he immediately began eating the real peanuts before Bako could stop him. That night, they reached another village where Bako's future mother-in-law served them meat and millet porridge. "I think you told me you liked porridge," said Bako. But Riko answered, "You must be confusing me with someone else. I always eat meat whenever I get the chance." Again, Bako was forced to eat the porridge he hated. While they ate, Bako suddenly knocked over a large pot of water hanging above the fire, putting out the flames. Secretly, he thought, "Now in the darkness I can steal the rabbit's meat." But Riko had grown just as clever. He hid his meat behind him, and Bako found nothing. Laughing loudly, Riko said, "Oh, Bako, it was you who taught me to become clever." That same night, while everyone slept, Bako woke Riko. "I am hungry," whispered Bako. "I want more than this terrible porridge. I am going to kill one of the goats, and you will cook the meat for me." The rabbit agreed. Soon Bako returned, dragging a dead goat behind him. Together they skinned it and stuffed the skin with dry leaves so nobody would suspect it was dead. Then they cooked the meat over a fire. Bako pretended to sleep beside the fire while secretly waiting for the chance to steal all the meat. But Riko stayed alert. Eventually Bako truly fell asleep. Then the rabbit quietly crept to the pot, ate all the meat himself, tied the bones together, and hid them inside Bako's thick fur. The next morning, the goat's owner discovered the crime, and the villagers gathered around them. A wise old man suddenly pointed at the two travelers. "Those are the thieves!" Bako trembled in fear. "How dare you accuse us?" said Riko boldly. "Prove it!" Then he danced, spun around, and shook himself. Nothing fell from his body. "Perhaps you are innocent," said the old man. "Now let the baboon do the same." As Bako jumped and shook himself, the goat bones rattled loudly inside his fur. "Bako killed the goat!" the villagers cried. But Bako shouted, "No, Riko killed it. He ate the meat and hid the bones on me." The villagers did not know whom to believe. Finally, one man declared, "Then both of you shall die, but you may choose your own punishment." Riko answered calmly, "Tie us beneath a pile of firewood and burn it. If one burns while the other survives, then the one who burns is the true thief." The villagers agreed, but unknown to everyone, Riko had spotted a small hole beneath the woodpile. When the flames rose, he slipped through the hole and escaped safely. Bako the baboon burned to death in the fire. When only ashes remained, Riko emerged from hiding and said to the villagers, "You see? Did I not speak wisely? The goat thief is now among the ashes."